Barolo is one of the world's great wines. From the Piedmont region of northwest Italy, the wines are made entirely from Nebbiolo. It's often compared to its neighbor Barbaresco. While similar, Barolo tends to be more concentrated, often with a higher degree of tannin, while Barbaresco often shows more refinement. That said, both have great aging potential. In this video, I'll taste and discuss two different Barolo bottlings, one from a current release, the other that has been cellared away for more than 2 decades. The first wine is the 2019 Vite Colte Essenze Barolo. This is from a grape grower-owned cooperative based in Barolo with 180 members. Overall, 2019 is a very good vintage with excellent aging potential. I paid $43 per bottle. So I first tried this wine when I judged at a wine competition in 2024. This wine showed extremely well, and I thought to myself, I need to get a few of these from my cellar. They weren't easy to find, so they did take a bit of a search, but I'm so happy with what I've seen in this with these wines, and I think these are just a great addition to the cellar. You see the cork's in very good shape. In terms of the appearance, yeah, this wine looks exactly as Barolo will, even at a very young age. It's quite pale, but this is difficult for you to see, so through the magic of YouTube, I'm going to change the angle so you can get a better look at the appearance. The color of Barolo tends to have a pale garnet appearance, even when the wine is youthful. The color density will gradually fade with additional aging. So at this point, the wine has just been open a few minutes. And already the aroma is really quite nice. There's a dried violet, dry rose petal character. It smells a little bit like olive tapenade, and there's a bit of this smoky vanilla character, but nice intensity. Smells great. I'm sure with a bit more time, with some aeration, the wine is going to bloom and develop into something much more than what it is right now, but this is a good start. Now the structure of this wine, it's a big boy. It's really quite dense and full. The alcohol checks in at 14.5, very typical for Barolo, especially in recent years. Many of the vintages have been more on the warm side, but a lot of structure, a lot of concentration here. The acidity is quite lifted, again, quite typical, and there's some tannins here. It's kind of grippy tannins as well. So this is a wine that certainly is built to age. I think the structure is excellent. I love the way that it carries through to the back palate. The fruit seems very ripe, so there's a good degree of that character here. There's nothing lean or astringent about this wine whatsoever. It's really a beauty from start to finish. But I'm curious to see how this develops, and my feeling is this wine can easily go another 10 years in the cellar, probably 20 if you're really storing it in ideal conditions, but an absolute beauty, very classic to the place of origin. This is really good. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so right now. Hit that like button and definitely hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to speed on all things happening here. These things very much do help that YouTube algorithm to get my videos out to a broader audience. It's much appreciated. This next wine has been in my cellar for about 25 years. It's the 1997 Cascina Bruni Barolo Bricco Rosso. It's from a classic, iconic producer from one of the top vintages over the last few decades. It's difficult to put a price on this wine. I found price ranges anywhere from $100 to over $250 per bottle. This wine is part of a trio that I purchased back in the early 2000s. This is the last bottle of the set, and it's been stored in perfect conditions the entire time. And a couple of pointers, a couple of things to search out when you're looking at old wine and making a bit of an assessment of the quality and condition of it even before it's opened. One thing is this, the fill level. It's difficult to see because this is dark brown glass, but the tip of that pen is where the fill level is in this wine. It's really outstanding. It's well into the neck of the bottle. Oftentimes, as a wine ages, that level will drop. Sometimes you can get into the shoulder. That's not the greatest sign. That could be an indicator that the wine has not been stored in great condition. Perhaps there's a problem with the cork. The other is the condition of this cork. When I remove the top of the capsule, it's very clean. It looks absolutely pristine. So it looks exactly as it should. Beyond that, I always suggest that you shine a bright light up into the base of the bottle. And this is not going to show all that well in the video, but it shines enough light into the base of the bottle that I can see there is essentially very little sediment here. So I'm going to opt to not decant this wine. And I'm typically not a fan of decanting. I think in many cases, decanting actually does more damage than good. So I'm not going to decant in this case. But what I am going to do is use this. And this is a knockoff on what is called the Durand. This is called the Curand. And I picked this up back about 6 months ago, and I use this for older bottles of wine. Oftentimes, the cork can be a little crumbly, soft. It can be a little bit difficult to extract. And if you're using an old school waiter's corkscrew like this, sometimes you can tear the cork up and have all sorts of problems. Now, this looks very good, and I'm not all that concerned about it. I think this probably would work. But since I have this out, I'm going to use this. And this is essentially a two-piece cork extractor. You have one piece, which is the corkscrew or the helix, and the other, which is the two-prong, sometimes called the Rosso. And with this, simply all you're doing with this is taking the helix, make sure it's centered and straight, and you're going right through the center of that cork. And you'll continue down until that T part of the corkscrew is right at the lip of the bottle. The next is taking the two-prong or the Rosso, and this will be placed perpendicular to the first piece. There's a longer prong. That's the one that you'll use first, and basically all you're doing is taking it and placing it between the interior lip and the cork. And once you get that started, you can then use the second prong, the shorter prong, and you rock this back and forth until that piece is touching the first. And basically what you have is something that looks like an X if you were looking down from up above. At that point, you can twist and pull up. It's going to take a few turns. It feels good. It feels like the cork is firm and it's coming out. This will take a little bit of patience. Keep in mind, this is a piece of tree bark that's been in this bottle for many years. And it's not always going to be consistent from bottle to bottle. So you might have one bottle that's very easy to open. You might have another that's going to be more of a challenge. And at this point, it is just about fully extracted. Okay, I'll show you the condition of this. You can see there's a bit of bleeding up the side of the cork. It's not bad, it's not spongy, it's not crumbly. I think this cork has actually done its job. And yeah, I think this actually looks pretty good for the age of this wine. Okay, let's see how this looks. This looks like a wine that definitely has some serious aging to it. Again, I'm going to change the angle so you can get a better look. I'll be right back. The core is moderately deep with a bit more fade at the edge of the glass, along with a slight amber appearance versus the previous wine. Here are the two wines side by side, with the older Barolo being the one on the right. Okay, so I'm really curious to see what's going on here, so let's give this a sniff. Really cool. Heaped with tertiary characteristics. No surprise at all. The wine has a lot of bottle age to it, and it has all the markers. There is a bit of a mushroomy note, a little earthy character, something here that's actually reminiscent of balsamic. There still is some of that That dry violet and dry rose character, very typical of what you'll find with Nebbiolo and specifically Barolo. Love the way this smells, and I'm curious to see how this develops, because if it smells this good after only being open for a few minutes, let's see what happens given a little more time. On the palate, there's plenty of weight here. Again, that tertiary note follows through. There actually is a bit of a red fruit character that's underlying, but again, that sort of earthy, balsamic, mushroomy character all shows through. There is a little bit of volatile acidity here. No surprise for this type of wine at this age, but it's not off-putting at all. I actually find it quite interesting and appealing. It's well balanced, there's very good length. This wine is really showing quite well. I think it may be a bit over the hill, but it's still holding together. It's certainly not in some sort of free fall. It's really beautiful from start to finish. The back palate is extremely soft. Again, it has good length. It really is enjoyable. I'm so curious to see what happens with this given some time to aerate. But right now, this is really nice. At this point, I'm coming back to revisit the wines after they've been open for about 4 hours. Now, I've cheated a little bit. I've come back and tasted and retasted the wines over the last few hours. And this first one really is interesting in terms of how it developed. The aromatic profile of that floral character, the black olive note, that vanilla characteristic, all of that is still there. It's become a little bit more intensified, though. On the palate, definitely very good weight, good volume here. The wine is still very firm. I think this wine actually may taste better tomorrow. Now, it's still dense, it's full, it's very concentrated, it's drinking well, but I also get the feeling that it's only going to have so much of a ceiling in the current state. I think it really does need more bottle age, and that's what's going to bring its full potential. The wine is beautiful. I'm happy that I have a few extra bottles for my cellar, and I think this wine is going to develop very well over the years. But right now, it's drinking well, but I think this wine has more to offer. And now for the older Barolo. And again, I've tasted this several times over the last few hours, and this one just keeps getting better and better. The aroma is sensational. It just really grabs you by the nose and draws you into the glass. Those tertiary characteristics are all there that I initially described, a bit of that balsamic, earthy, mushroomy character. There's still a bit of that floral note to it, that dried rose petal and violet. And there's a bit of a clove character here as well, but it's just bloomed in terms of intensity. It smells sensational. It's full, ripe, very weighty on the palate, extremely smooth. There is a little bit of volatile acidity. There's no doubt. There's a little touch of that, but it's really holding together extremely well, actually a little better than what I expected. It's an absolute beauty, and I think a big part of the condition of this has to do with the great storage conditions. If you're aging wines, storing your wine properly means everything, and this is really a case in point. For me tonight, I'll be drinking the older Barolo. The other Barolo, I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow. But this is a beauty. I hope you're drinking something very interesting as well. And as always, thank you very much for following my channel. And please stop back again before too long. Cheers.